Living Pain here. This is, as you can tell, normally you see my videos, it's showing every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What does it look like outside? What training did I do? What were the calories, all that. And I decided I'm going to change it up a little bit this week, maybe even a little bit moving forward. This past week, week 62, has been maybe one of the most interesting weeks in terms of my weight loss journey, where I'm at now, things that, epiphanies that I'm getting. And it's been a lot of soul searching in this last week. And as of today, and I'm filming this on Tuesday, I've had some major breakthroughs, which I'm going to get to in the second part. So the first part of this video is just going to do a quick recap on how my week went last week, and then we'll jump into my epiphanies, learnings, challenges, all that stuff. So Monday 206.6, Tuesday 206, Wednesday 207, Thursday 205.2, Friday 203, forgot to weigh myself Saturday, Sunday 205.8, and then Monday 205.2. So safe to say I'm probably in the 205 to 206 is the weight that I'm at right now. Calorie wise, 3,000, 31, 24, 21, 33, 33, 38. Last, for an average of 3,052 per day. Last week I was at 3,104, so I'm 50 calories a day less this week. Week before I was at 2,700 calories average. Working out wise, exercise, I did a 3-hour bike ride, next day I did a 2-hour run, so that's 5 hours. Did another 2-hour bike ride, so there's 7. And then you can see here, 0, 0, 0, my back was killing me. Can't even move, and I'll get into that in part 2. And then on Sunday I did worked out to be about an hour and a half bike ride, but very leisurely with Alice, and we just kind of went to a restaurant, that sort of stuff. My back held up, but it wasn't easy. I wasn't doing any sort of hard training. So I averaged this week, it probably worked out to about 6.5 hours of training, where last week it was 9. And if I didn't miss any workouts, had no injuries, that sort of thing, we're sitting in, it's going to be around 12 hours a week. So I got about half done. Now what I want to do is I'm going to erase this board, and I'm going to kind of go into the next part, maybe even more important part, the more important part of what my learnings were this week, the challenges, and out of what I think was a negative is going to evolve into a positive. Okay, due to the magic of editing, let's get to why I think I'm struggling with the weight loss. Let's just do a quick recap of, I started, I guess, 450 days ago. First 5 to 6 months, I lost 30 pounds. And then from there, summer started. I think it was having a few beers on the weekend, and all of a sudden my weight loss, which was going down and down and down, all of a sudden started leveling off. And if anything, it's been bouncing between minus 30 pounds to minus 35. Sometimes it goes minus 29 on a weekend, that sort of thing. So bottom line is it's been flat for probably 6 months. Or out of that 450 days, it's been flat or bouncing up and down. The good part is if I was down my 50 pounds, that is what my goal is, I've got a perfect maintaining lifestyle to maintain my weight. I've already figured it out, where I can eat restaurants, have beers, yada yada yada. Now, what has not been happening is I haven't been getting to my goal of 50 pounds. And when I started, it was like working out every single day, eating about 12 to 1400 calories, and I was losing 5 pounds per month, roughly. Wished it was more, but it was 5 months. I was building muscle and losing fat, and the age component being in your mid-50s, definitely metabolism has an effect. So in these last 2 weeks, some things, I call it a gift, even though it doesn't sound like a gift, is my back has been thrown out. And to the point where it's difficult to walk, it's near impossible to run, depending on the day, impossible to run. Biking I can do, but when I get off the bike, it exacerbates it, and it hurts more. And so I started looking at my lifestyle and saying, look, I've got stressors. Your back, you throw your back out or you get injured, it could be your calf injury. And I used to have a bad back for years and years. And then for 10 years, I haven't had a bad back. But I'd get, then it would be a calf injury or something like that. And there's a Dr. Sarno, I think that's his name. Years ago, I saw him on 2020. He's written an incredible book about back pain. And his theory, oversimplified, is that when there's things that are not going right in your life, it manifests itself in some sort of a pain in your body. And if you can identify and address what that issue is, then the pain will go away. And so, for example, when you look at back pain, prior to my back pain, I'm going 100 miles an hour. My lifestyle, just 100 miles an hour. And then I get back pain, and it goes from 100 miles an hour to shuffling like an old man. And your reality becomes completely different. You're not jumping off the couch. You're not doing a lot of things because you have this bad back. So I looked at it and I said, okay, based on Dr. Sarno stressors, what could it be? And, trying to figure it out. So when I figure it out, my back pain will go away. So these are in no particular order. Work is a stressor for me for growth. We are currently growing the business. It's getting busier in the last 2.5 months, almost 3 months. I've hired 4 more people. When you hire more people, you have a bigger obligation to make sure that you're feeding that engine, getting more work in the door. When you start heading into summer, you don't know if it's going to get slower, and especially right now with COVID this last year, nobody can predict anything. So point being is there's always a stress work-wise because the uncertainty, and then there's always a pressure, which is fair. So I don't know if that's the cause of my back, but that's definitely a stressor. I've had that my whole life, stressor. And actually, it's, I've had it my whole life in terms of work. So I think, I'm very good at coping with it. But that is a stressor. I'm not saying that's the one, and maybe it's part of the issue. Then the other one is training. So trying to get into half Ironman shape. I've got a race in Calgary in August 1st, which is a half Ironman. So I'm going to go out and visit my daughter who lives there, her and her boyfriend, and do the race. So with that requires a time commitment to do the 10 to 12 hours a week of training, which I'd been doing really well and really getting in good shape. And then my back went out on me. And so then that just is a pile on pressure. Like, okay, I think right now I've got 6 weeks of training for this race. Haven't done any swimming yet because the pools aren't open. And so that's a stressor. Although I know I could finish, the stressor is I want to do better than just finish. I want to finish without dying, so to speak. That's one. The other is partying. What's partying to me? Well, we have a bar in our house in the basement, call it the Pig and Whistle. And our lifestyle of the last, it's a place where Alice and I go on evenings, weekends. It started as weekends. Now it's kind of evolved into weekends, weekdays. And we sit down there and we have cocktails and we just listen to 70s music. We talk. and depending on the night, it could end at 1 in the morning or it could end at 6:30 in the morning. And what I found in the last couple of months is that we've been spending more and more time almost every night down in the Pig and Whistle, not going crazy, but enough where you're not resting. It's not like I'm lying down watching TV, giving my body a rest, giving my mind a rest. No, it's right from work, training, partying, and then repeat. So that's another stressor, definitely on the body. My back could be saying to me, dude, you need to settle down on the partying. And I wasn't listening, and then all of a sudden it manifests in a bad back. The other one that I have is weight loss. There's doing so well for 6 months, or the first 6 months, and then these last 6 months or more, just bouncing around, getting on the scale every day, trying to watch your food every day, and then not seeing the results every day. That's another stressor, in terms of frustration. I should be down 50 pounds, and frankly, I should be down 50 pounds many times over. However, the issue for that is the partying and the eating. So when I say partying, it could be Pig and Whistle. It's then weekends, heading to a local restaurant/bar, having lunch, dinner, a few cocktails, whatever. And then that affects the weight loss. So when I was starting to put these stressors together, and I was having a conversation last night with Alice, and she made an interesting comment. She says, whenever you go in growth mode, like business-wise primarily, or anything, you're not in first gear or second gear or third gear, you're in fourth gear. You're like giving her all the time. So what I give for work or I give for training, I give for everything in my life. And it's, and that is in fourth gear. So it's almost you're what I would call a mania speed. And it's like you need to have a break in your life. So, you're working hard during the day, your mind's focused on that. And as a break to relieve yourself, some people could just say, oh, I'm going to do training and chill out, watch TV, whatever. For me, I like living life to the fullest. And so it's like, okay, work hard, play hard. There's a great feeling and a lot of fun just doing that partying. Then train hard, just don't do 30, 45 minutes a day. Sign up for a half Ironman and do that. And then, of course, when trying to do all this stuff and having these stressors, try to lose weight in the process. And so I'm trying to analyze my bad back. And last night when Alice said, hey, I think you're always in fourth gear, she thought if I can move it down to second or third gear, that it would be a lot better. And I will have to say I totally agree with her. So I woke up today and I said to myself, okay, let's kind of pull back a bit. Let's use this last week as a learning experience. Let's treat the bad back as a gift, that it's identifying that there is an issue, and now it's a matter of me figuring it out. Now, the good news is my weight's a little down. Like as of today, I think it's 203. This is Tuesday. Like I say, I'm recording it a couple days after the last week ended. And that it's a double-edged sword. Part of the reason is I haven't been training as much for the last week, which the water retention goes down because you're not having to repair the muscles, and then the muscles go down in terms of size. So it's a little misleading in terms of it's a pick-me-up because you see the weight a little lower, but at the same time, once you start getting back into the training heavy, the weight's going to pop up. The other side of it is, because I've been here before, if you don't get back into the training, if you don't start eating properly once again, then it's going to shoot up from that 203, 205, 210. I've been there, trust me, I've seen it so many times. So what does all this mean? What's my takeaway from this? So I just decided today, I woke up And it's like, take a deep breath, let it go, stop putting pressure on yourself. And especially the stressors, work, just chill. Everything's, because I'm always thinking I've decided I want to grow the business, so it's a matter, when do I bring on this, that, the other thing. There's all sorts of stuff that when you do it right, it looks easy, but the decisions of thinking about what you want to do, they take time. So number one is I'm looking and saying, hey, let's just let it go right now. Let's see what happens. Be patient and think about stuff, but don't beat yourself up on it. Don't try to push something that's not ready to be pushed. Kind of let it happen. And then on the partying, this is a big one, is I really need to pull it back. Oh man. I don't think I could ever hit rock bottom. I've had situations where I have hit rock bottom in the past and stopped partying for, I think one time in my early 20s, I quit drinking for like 7 years, just focused on triathlons, all that sort of stuff. And I don't think I can hit rock bottom anymore. There's nothing that I think would change my life. So I know I can't hit rock bottom. With that said, this past 2 months has been one of those where it's not rock bottom, where it's like, okay, dude, you've been basically going to the Pig and Whistle and having beers and Malo 5s and all the rest of that stuff. And then you're getting into snacking, because of my calories of late, probably 12 to 1500 are what I call empty calories, or either alcohol. Well, they are alcohol, they are snack food, chips, chocolate, all the stuff that you shouldn't be eating. And if all I had to do was just cut out the partying side of it, my calories would probably be around 15 to 1700. If I had my training going, I'm going to start peeling down the weight. Most importantly though, is by making the work more palatable, or just not putting the pressure on myself, which I don't know why I should be, but I do. It's just what I've always done. And then cutting out the partying, or greatly reducing it, but I think I have to cut it out for a while. I know for sure I'll lose the weight, especially if I do the training. And the goal, if in 6 weeks I could even show up at 198 pounds, drop like 6 or 7 pounds, I'm going to have a better race. And it's going to feel a lot better. And I'm going to feel a lot better. There's no greater drug than being thin. And I want to maintain the training. I love the training. As a matter of fact, I hate racing. Absolute hate it. Training, the race to me is the victory lap. The training to me, I love getting out, doing a 3-hour bike ride. I shouldn't say I love it. I love it way more than racing. Don't have to get up early, all that sort of stuff. And so that's when, in a nutshell, mental, focus on work, don't stress it too much, let the growth just naturally happen. On the Ironman Calgary, or half Ironman Calgary, it's interesting because, as I mentioned, training I like, the races, the victory lap. I found out because of COVID that the swim is optional. So if I choose not to do the swim, I don't have to. Now, of course, in my mind, because I'm a competitor, I want to know what my full half Ironman time would be. So I'm like, how would I compare? And the only way I can compare to past results is to do the swim, bike, run. And then the more I think about it, first of all, I've always been a good swimmer. Yet, however, since my last couple of Ironmans, I started panicking in the water, and there's nothing worse than that. It's really strange. I know it sounds strange. However, it's not uncommon that really good swimmers, Ironman, start panicking in the water. Part of the reason is swimming in triathlons is a full contact sport. You've got people beside you, kicking off your goggles, everything else. And then I just find restricted with the wetsuit. So the last couple of races that I've done, I don't wear a wetsuit. So point being is I have an opportunity to do this race without a swim. And of course, I just heard of a race last weekend where a great swimmer drowned. and that's the last thing I want to do is go visit my daughter to have fun and drown. I kind of wreck it for everybody. So, in my mind's eye, I'm probably sitting there going, why put pressure on yourself? Just do the training, show up, do a bike, do a run, see how it goes from there. So I think that in my mind's eye now, I'm taking the pressure off myself and just saying, hey, and just go to finish, and don't do too crazy. And always remember the training, which I will say, thank goodness I signed up for that race, because the training has kept me on track, at least allowed me to eat like 3,000 calories and still be able to at least maintain the weight and burn them off. And then, of course, the weight loss, this just comes down, and this could be a reason for my bad back as well. It just comes down to lose weight, you have to be in the right mental state where not eating, you don't feel like you're missing anything, and you get used to maybe those hunger pains, although they're not pains, it's just a feeling of emptiness, and kind of working through that. So in my mind's eye, I say to myself, this is what all your stressors are. And can I pinpoint it down to, if I do this, deal with this one, it's going to fix my back and I'm going to feel great? No, I can't pinpoint it, but I have identified the issues that are potentially causing these problems, and I think it's a combination of all of them together. So that's where, even today when I woke up after having this conversation with Alice last night, and I don't know, there's just something about when she said fourth gear that kind of ticked for me, like, I get it, because you're so manic and you're running so fast that if you just, your body's saying to you, dude, if you're not going to slow down, I'm going to slow you down. Your mind works with the body and says, okay, let's slow this dude down. So that's what got me. And as a matter of fact, this morning when I woke up, my back was a little sore, and then I remembered what I was thinking about last night, and lo and behold, it's still sore. If scale of 10 is where I could hardly walk, which was times yesterday that happened, today I'm sitting at around a 3, and it's all from here, just mentally being ready to deal with stuff and taking a different approach and changing my mindset. Now, is that to say that it's not going to come back later today, or that it'll still be here in a week or so? I don't know, but it feels good right now, and I know that it is these stressors. If I was to add one more, it would be haircut. That I need a haircut. This hair, man, I haven't had long hair, and I know you look at it and say, oh, it's not too long. Although I'm starting to look like a TV evangelist, Jimmy Swaggart or something. And I want a haircut too. I'm starting to feel like some politician, and I haven't had long hair in like 20 years. It's used to being really short, So a little bit different this week. Even though I recorded videos of me biking and all that sort of stuff, it's too bad because I had some good video. I'm not going to edit that together this week, and because I think it's just maybe getting redundant if you're watching this. Oh, okay, he's on the bike, and you can see this. Oh, he's on the run. Although if you want to put in the comments whether you like that, or hey, bring it back, or hey, I think you're on the right track, don't worry about that stuff. Any feedback would be good. I'm always interested. You can never predict until you ask someone. It was just my feel is that it's always the same. Although when I rewatch my videos, it actually motivates me if I don't want to work out and I'm watching one or whatever. It motivates me to do more. So there is some value to it, but I just don't want it to be too repetitive. That's what happened this week. I would call week 62 my epiphany week. Thank goodness my back is weak, not feeling good, and just onward and upward. And it's Tuesday today, so Monday I didn't work out. Tuesday we'll see if I can maybe get on the bike later or do a little jog maybe. But what I want to focus on today is just releasing any pressure, releasing any pressure that I'm putting on myself, because at the end of the day, all of these are pressure, and then this one's my pressure relief. But like anything too much, it goes from being a positive to a negative. So I'm definitely out of balance. We'll see what happens. That's it for me. Over and out, living pain. Have a good one. We will see you next week.